Ladies and gents, welcome back. This is Anthony with Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services. And for this particular video, we're going to get ready to discuss the SAT Practice Test 1, Math Section 4, questions 1 through 10. All right, so I'm going to slide down a little bit. And here we are. John runs at different speeds. As part of his training program, the graph shows his target heart rate at different times during his workout. So quickly, I'm going to scan. Okay, target heart rate is over here on the y-axis, time is on the x-axis, and it says on which interval is the target heart rate strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing. So I really want to look for something that is strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing. I'm going to try and avoid what is this, right? What is called a plateau. So I want to try and not choose something to that extent. So here I'm going to go up. Oh, and then here I have a plateau. That's not going to be it. Here I have a plateau. Here I have a plateau. So really I want to find something that's going up then immediately down. It looks like this is going to be my best interval. This would fall to 40 as well as 60. So answer choice B is going to be my best answer. Okay, great. Let's move on. So question 2 says that if y equals kx, so y equals kx, and k is a constant, meaning that this will be the same for multiple equations, and y equals 24, so let's say y equals 24, k is a constant, when x equals 6, so I'm plugging x in, so obviously you can solve for k initially. Here I'm gonna, both divide by 6, and I'm getting 4 equals k initially. It says, what is the value of y when x equals 5? So now they want you to plug this back in, knowing that k is the constant. So y equals kx, and when x has now become 5, they want you to solve for y. Well, y equals k, right? I'm going to plug k back in for that being my constant, times 5. So 4 times 5, y equals going to be 20 in this instance. And yes, 2. 2 is going to be C. All right, let's keep going. So question 3 is in the figure above, lines L and M are parallel, and lines S and T are going to be parallel. So L and M here are going to be parallel, usually represented by this notation, and then S and T are going to be parallel. I like that because immediately I can tell that this angles here are all going to be the same. They're all going to be congruent. And then I know that everything here is also going to be congruent given the parallel lines. And I believe they're supplementary, right? And then alternating interior sides, right? All the rules that are based upon geometric calculations. It says if the measure of angle 1 is 35, what is the measure of angle 2? So if angle 1 here is 35, well, according to both of these being 180, well, this angle here has to be 180 minus 35. And I know down here as well that this is 35. So if I know that 180 minus 35 degrees is going to give me 145 degrees, then I know that all of these angles here, 1, 1, 1, 1, are all going to be 35. And I know that all of the corresponding angles, 2, 2, 2, right, and 2, are actually all going to be 145 degrees. So, okay, question 3. It says, in the figure above, lines L and M are parallel, and lines S and T are parallel. So I would write this notation here to signify the fact that they're going to be parallel together. I also like this because according to geometric proofs and rules, there's going to be a lot of things that I can utilize knowing that those lines are parallel to each other. If the measure of angle 1 is 35, what is the measure of angle 2? So angle 1 is over here, and angle 2 is over here. Well, if you understand the rules in terms of geometry, then you'll see that this angle here, for 1, is also going to be congruent to this angle here, which would therefore be congruent to this angle here. And it says if the measure of angle 1 is 35 degrees, so this angle here is going to be 35 degrees. Now the fastest way to solve this is to know that if you have 180 minus 35 degrees equals 145 degrees. right? So angle 2, knowing that the angle of a straight line is going to be 180 degrees, angle 2 is therefore going to have to be 145 degrees. Okay, let's clear that. Let's keep going. It says if 16 plus 4x is 10 more than 14, what is the value of 8x? So if 16 plus 4x is 10 more than 14, what is the value of 8x? What this is asking you is, do you understand mathematical terminology? Right? Are you able to take this word equation and put it into an actual expression or mathematical expression? And it tells you that 16 plus 4x now is going to denote equal sign, right? Is usually refers to equals, and then it says 10 more than 14. Well, 10 more than 14 is going to denote a plus sign. So 10 more than 14 is 10 plus 14. And this is, what is the value of 8x? Well, that 8x will eventually have to plug that x back in, this x from this equation here, and plug that back into this x to solve for the total value of 8x. But first, I'm going to have 24 equals 16 plus 4x. I'm now going to subtract both sides by 16 in order to get 4x by itself. So 16, I'm then going to have 4x equals 8. I'm going to divide by 4 in order to get both sides, or in order to get x alone. Then 8 divided by 4 is going to give me 2. So I have x equals 2, but I also know that I have to plug this back in and figure out what is the total value of 8x. And so I'm going to do 8 times 2 is going to give me 16 altogether. And 16 should be my answer. C is the best choice. Okay, let's clear that. Slide down to problem 5. Problem 5 says, which of the following graphs best shows a strong negative association between D and T? So in order for me to answer this problem, I have to be aware of what is a strong negative association. Now, let's quickly go over this. When something is strong, it means that the lines are close together. It means that they have a, let's say a high accuracy, if you will, where all of the dots are really going to be kind of in one place, as if you're drawing that line. And then now this could be up or down, right? So if this is strong positive, then this is what the line would look like, right? If this was a strong positive association. But if it's a strong negative, then this is what the graph would look like overall. So this here would be positive, this would be a negative association. And you'll see answer choice A looks a little bit too scattered, it's not really strong. You want to be able to find something that's more along this line when it comes to actually strength of the line. Okay, problem 5. It says, which of the following graphs best shows a strong negative association between B and D? So what you need to be aware of is, what does the word strong really refer to? And that is signifying that the lines are close together. And by saying that they're near each other, okay, so problem 5 says, which of the following graphs best shows a strong negative association between D and T? Now, the word strong is implying that the lines are really close together. So lines are close. And strong is also, so strong would look like where a number of the dots are going to be fairly accurate or close to the same approximation. And that is signifying that it's kind of got to have a stronger R value if you were to correlate the slope. The negative association is referring to the fact that this is going to be going down. So if you have a negative association, it's going to be going down, versus if you have a positive, it's going to be increasing. But the values do have to be close together. So here I see kind of pretty scattered. This is not a strong association. So it's not going to be this, it's not going to be A. B also, I mean, pretty strong, but not positive, and also a little bit too scattered, not clear enough to be the best possible answer choice. C is going to be a strong positive association, so not our best possible answer choice. Now, if I slide down to D, let's clear this off real fast. If I slide down to D, I see that there is a strong, right? That this is exactly where the lines, right? All the dots are fairly close together, and I see this is a strong negative association. So D is going to be my best possible answer choice. Okay, let's clear that. Problem 6 is stating a hospital stores. Okay, problem 6 states that a hospital stores one type of medicine in 2 decagram containers. Based on the information given, okay, problem 6. A hospital stores one type of medicine in 2 decagram containers. Based on the information given in the box above, how many 1 milligram doses are there in 1 decagram container? So I'm going to attempt to try and do 2 decagrams here, and I want to convert this all the way through using dimensional analysis in order to solve for milligrams. So if I set this up fairly quickly, knowing that I have 2 decagrams beginning, right, and I want to actually solve for how many milligram doses. I want to try and convert this through each of the unit conversion factors to solve for milligrams. I'm then going to get my unit conversion here, right, 2 decagrams. Well, I'm going to put decagrams purposely on the bottom so I can cancel these out. And I'm going to have my 1 decagram is going to be equal to 10 grams. I'm then going to have my grams here on the bottom so I can cancel those out as well. And I'm going to have my 1 gram is going to be equal to 1,000 milligrams. So if I cancel, I should have set this up the right way. And I know that my units should be lasting within milligrams. So the simplest way to describe this is 2 times 10 times 1,000, which overall is going to give me 20,000. So D should be your best possible answer choice. Okay, question 7. Question 7 states that the rooftop solar panel, or the number of rooftops with solar panel installations in 5 cities, is shown in the graph above. If the total number of installations is 27,500, what is an approximate label for the vertical axis of the graph? So here I have 5 different cities, and I want to know what is the approximate label for the y-axis. Meaning if they haven't provided me units, that's really what they're asking for. What should the units be in terms of the increments here from 9 to 8 to the 8 to 7? And to quickly think about this, that if they're giving you possible answer choices in tens, in hundreds, in thousands, and then in tens of thousands. Well, first off, if you did tens of thousands, then this would be 90,000, right? That's what it's referring to in terms of tens and thousands. But the total number of everything is 27,500. So you know that right out of the gate, that if you know that A plus B plus C plus D plus E is going to give you 27,500 total, well, A alone is 90,000. If it was in units of tens of thousands, that can't be right. So that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be tens of thousands. We're going to work back. All right. So then what about, well, let's do process of elimination with tens. Well, if this is tens, then you have 90, right, plus 50, plus 60, plus 40, plus, that looks to be 35. Well, that also wouldn't be the case. 90 plus 5 smaller things would never add up to give you 27,500. The same, whereas if this was in hundreds, and if this suddenly was 900, right, plus 5 smaller things, this isn't even equal to 1,000. So this wouldn't even equal to 5,000 overall. So it's definitely, it can't be A, it can't be, and it can't be B, and it's definitely not D. Well, it is C, but let's talk about why a little bit more why it is C without wasting too much time. So here, if it's C, we know that altogether this 90 would then be 9,000. Right? If you were to add up all of these, where this would then become 5,000, right, plus 6,000, plus 4,000, right, plus your 3,500, and you're welcome to add them up. Those actually would equal to 20,500. And you're welcome to add them all up, and they would equal to 27,500 altogether. So C is your best answer. Okay, problem 8. For what value of n, problem 8, for what value of n is n minus 1, so I'm going to do n minus 1 here, plus 1 equal to 0. Now, if you're thinking about this, anything within this absolute value sign actually has to end up being positive. But notice that this plus 1 has to be equal to 0, means that this has to be n minus 1 equals negative 1. Well, this is going to be difficult because anything out of here actually has to be a positive value, right? N minus 1, no matter what it is, as long as it's present within the absolute value sign, is going to have to be positive. So this is going to be n, right? This positive sign is not going to correlate to the minus 1. So if I'm trying to immediately solve this through, this isn't going to work. And answer choice D is going to be your best answer. Now, you're welcome to plug these in to essentially try and attempt to see what you can come up with, but rest assured, D is going to be your best answer because anything within the absolute value sign overall has to equal a positive value, and it's not going to correlate to be that case for the n minus 1. So let's clean and keep going. So problem 9 is referring to this equation here, where it says A equals 1052 plus 1.08 t. It says the speed of a sound wave in air depends on the air temperature. Most likely, T is going to represent temperature, which would make the speed of a sound wave A. It says the formula above shows the relationship between A, yes, speed of a sound wave, in feet per second, and T, yes, in air temperature, and degrees Fahrenheit. So very quickly, it says, which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of the speed of a sound wave? So here, if I have which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of speed of a sound wave, I'm really looking for T equals something. So T equals question mark. But it says in terms of the speed of a sound wave. So it's really just saying in terms of T in terms of A, right? So A is going to be over here somewhere within the equation. Well, if I have A equals 1052 plus 1.08 t, I can subtract this, so this becomes A minus 1052 equals 1.08 t, and if I were to divide by 1.08 to both sides, right, I would then isolate t by itself. This should be somewhat of what I'm expecting for my answer, unless they were to Right, so question 9 is saying, which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of speed of a sound wave? So really what they're asking is T equals question mark A, right? It's which of the following expresses the air temperature, or T, in terms of the sound wave, or A. So if I were to take the above equation, A equals 1052 plus 1.08 T, if I were to subtract 1052, right, and then minus 1052. Okay, so problem 9 is stating which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of the speed of a sound wave. So when it says which of the following expresses the air temperature, what it's really asking is T question mark in terms of A. So if I took the above equation, A equals 1052 plus 1.08 t. And if I were to subtract both sides by the 1052, this would become A minus 1052 equals 1.08 t. Then if I were to isolate t by dividing by 1.08 here, right, because I want to get t by itself as what is desired within the problem. So I get A minus 1052 over 1.08. Well, that's what T should equal. So I'm going to look at my answer choices and see which of these correlate the best to that. and it appears as though A is your best possible answer choice. Okay, the final question is asking you, at which of the following air temperatures, will the speed of a sound wave be closest to 1,000 feet per second? Now, I know, according to my above equation, that A is the speed of the sound wave. And it's saying that what would happen, like what would T equal, essentially, if A equals 1,000 feet per second? So if I had my A equals 1,052 plus my 1.08 T, and notice I've already solved for T in my above equation, but I'll work this out again. Then if I have A is 1,000 equals 1,052 plus 1.08 T, then I can subtract both sides by 1,052. Over here, I'm going to subtract this by 1,052. What I'll end up getting is minus 52 equals 1.08 T. Now, if I'm going to, once again, to divide by 1.08, divide here by 1.08, what I'm going to end up getting is an approximate value of, let's say, negative 52. It's going to be a little less than 50. So I'm going to skim up. Okay, so plugging that into my calculator, I'm going to get negative 48.15, right? So negative 48.15, and this is going to be my best answer. So answer B.